Shalom, Israel. Giving all praises to the Most High and His Son, Yahawashi. Happy belated Feast of Tabernacles, Feast of Tabernacles. We just got through celebrating, and we hope everyone had a blessed Feast of Tabernacles, man. We just got back. Everybody tired, everybody tuckered out, everybody really enjoyed themselves, man, but it was a beautiful thing. Lord will, the video will be out in a timely manner where Israel can see how we enjoyed ourselves and how we celebrated out there. And Lord willing, when you see the video, it'll inspire you to come and join us. Because that's we welcome. We welcome our brothers and our sisters to reach out to us, and if they want to join, or if they want to come and celebrate, or if they want to come and congregate, we welcome them. So today's class, we're going to be doing a part 2 of last week's class. And to be honest, this isn't even fully covering it either. We might end up having to do a part 3, part 4, because you can't just touch on the curses. You know what I'm saying? You have to break them down while the waters are increasing, while the knowledge is increasing, while the understanding is increasing. You have to break it down more and more and more. Re-examining the curses brought to pass in the Israelite community. Give me 2 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 5. Read that out.
Book of 2 Corinthians chapter 13 verse 5.
Read.
Examine yourself.
So this Bible is a mirror. We say it all the time. The Bible is a mirror. Everything in your life is a mirror. Did you know that your eyes are mirrors? That's why in the scriptures it says the light of the body is the eye. Because your eye is literally a mirror. You know what I'm saying? When you're looking through your eye, it is a reflection of what you see around you. And everything you see around you is dependent on your perception. So one thing I tell brothers all the time, but one thing I've always thought of myself, if you think somebody else thinks something about you, or if you hating on somebody else thinking, oh, he don't respect me, or oh, he talked to me a certain type of way, or oh, she do this or she do that, it's because that's the way you think about yourself.
That's right.
And you're projecting that on them. You really don't respect yourself, and you projecting that on them.
Right.
Read it again,
Examine yourself.
Look at yourself the way that you think you looking around at everything else. Read.
Whether he be in the faith.
Whether you actually 100% understand what this mission is, what we are doing, or what the Bible means when it says certain things to you. Because what is the purpose of the scriptures if not for hearing the voice of the Lord?
That's right.
And if you don't fully understand the scriptures, how can you say you fully understand the things the Lord is trying to tell you? Read.
Prove your own selves.
Prove your own selves. Read.
Know ye not your own self.
And that's the problem with Israel, is we know every other nation except for ourselves. We know everything Esau done wrong. We know everything Moab did wrong. We know everything that Ham did wrong. We know everything that all the other everything Elam did wrong. We know everything that everybody else did wrong, but we don't know what we're doing wrong. And we don't apply that to the reason why our lives are so jacked up to this day. Read.
How that Yahawashi is in you.
He say, how that know ye not your own selves, how Yahawashi would be in you. Read.
Except ye be reprobate.
But because our people are reprobate in the mind, they cannot have Yahawashi in them. Yahawashi cannot dwell in a dirty temple. Give me 1 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 12. 1 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 12. Read this out.
Book of 1 Corinthians chapter 13 verse 12.
Read.
For no, now we see through a glass, darkly.
You say now our people are seeing through a glass, darkly. Glass. What is glass? It's a mirror. You see what I'm saying? When you seeing through that glass, You seeing a mirror reflection of yourself, but it's dark.
That's right.
You can't see yourself. You don't know who you are. You don't know why things are going on in your life. You can't see nothing else but what's past the mirror. Read.
But then, face to face.
But when that mirror is finally cleansed, wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way? When that mirror is finally cleansed, then you'll be able to see yourself face to face. Then, read.
Now I know in part.
He say, now I only know partially. Partially. When the mirror is dark, you only understand partially of the scriptures, because there's certain things we're going to go over today that are true. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got carnal understanding of certain things, but that don't make it the whole truth.
That's right.
The whole truth. Read.
But then shall I know even as also I am known.
But then once you clean that mirror, you gonna know yourself even as the Lord knows yourself. You gonna know yourself. And when you finally know yourself, you can finally know the scriptures. Give me Daniel's 9 and 11. Read this out.
Book of Daniel, chapter 9, verse 11.
Read.
Yea, all Israel have transgressed thy law.
See, all Israel. Right now, even in the camps, all Israel. All Israel is transgressing. All Israel has issues. All Israel is going through trouble. All Israel is going through drama right now.
That's
read.
Right. Even by departing,
read.
That they might not obey thy voice.
See, it's saying this is what's going on in Israel. Let's see the consequences of that going on in Israel. Read.
Therefore, the curse is poured upon us.
So if we was coming out of not keeping the law, why is the curse still poured upon us?
Work it out.
Why are we still going through the things that we're going through today? Why are the camps still falling apart? Why are the marriages still falling apart? Why is there still adultery in the community? Why is there still bearing false witness in the community? Why is there still murderous thought, hatred, murmuring in the community? Why is there still lying in the community? Why is there still thievery amongst the community? If we was not departing from the Lord. Read.
And the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of God.
Read.
Because we have sinned against him.
So when we read in the Bible, because it's dark, because we can't see the mirror, the only thing we see when we read this is we see the past. We read this and we think, oh, that's talking about 300 years ago, our forefathers. Because we can't see the mirror.
That's right.
But when you clean that mirror and you cleanse your way, you can finally look in this mirror and say, Dan, that's talking about me right now.
That's right.
Right now in this very moment, that's talking about me. Read.
And he hath confirmed his word.
And now he's confirmed his words. Read.
Which he had spake against us.
Read on.
And against our judges that judged us, by bringing up us a great evil.
By bringing upon us a great evil. Read.
For under the
whole heaven, read,
hath not been done as hath been done upon Jerusalem.
These things that are going on with us, man, ain't no other nation got to deal with these things but us.
That's right.
So the thing is, if ain't no other nation got to deal with these things but us, why are we so desperately looking for other nations to fix the issue?
Work it out.
Or for reparations? Or for some? How you gonna tell somebody else to fix something they ain't never been through? We the ones going through it. We gotta fix it.
Right.
But read.
As it is written in the law of Moses.
Read.
All this evil is come upon us.
All this evil is come upon us. Right? Read.
Yet made we not our prayer before the Lord our God.
See, the thing is, Israel still ain't really said they sorry about it. We don't care. You know, and if you examine what I'm saying, in Israel, yeah, we come into the truth and we say, yeah, we sinned, but we say we sinned. We don't say we still sinning.
That's right.
And that's the problem with Israel. We come into the truth and we think because we put fringes on that we're out of sin now.
That's right.
And so we're not making our prayer before the Lord our God to forgive us anymore. We haven't asked for forgiveness in 6 years. We came into truth 10 years ago and asked for forgiveness in 6 years.
Yeah.
Because we think we got it 6 years ago. And that's the problem with Israel today. Sinned yesterday. Read.
That we might turn from our iniquities.
That we might turn from our iniquities. Read.
And understand thy truth.
See, that's the most, and understand thy truth. Understand the movement. Understand the Bible. Understand what the laws hang on. Understand love. And Israel do not understand love at all. They don't understand the Bible. They don't understand how to treat each other. They don't understand what this movement is about. And they don't understand the way that our forefathers lived. So how can they set themselves up to be that if they never really understood it?
Bring it out.
Deuteronomy 28:1. Read this out.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 1.
Read.
And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
Hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God. Hearken, listen, consistently, diligently, frequently unto the voice of the Lord thy God. Read.
To observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day.
Read.
That the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all the nations of the earth.
Now let me ask a question. What does it mean to be set on high above all nations of the earth? What does that mean? A lot of people would tell me it means to have the other nations bow down to you. A lot of people would tell me it means to have the respect of the other nations. A lot of people would tell me it means that the other nations fear you. Give me Deuteronomy 4:5. What does it mean to be set on high above the other nations? Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 5. Read this.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verse 5.
Read.
Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me.
Read.
That ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it.
He gave us the commandments, the statutes, the judgments. And when they say the laws, commandments, statutes, and judgments, this is an entire way of life. We looking at it like, okay, he gave us these laws, commandments, statutes, and judgments that we supposed to follow, strict guidelines on how we're going to live. Bro, the statutes and judgments and guidelines and commandments, bro, this is a way of life. It's a way of thinking. It's a way of being. You can't just follow it word for word and think you're going to fully be it. You got to change your whole spirit to be a new man. But read on.
Keep, therefore, and do them.
Keep, therefore, and do them. Read.
For this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nation.
See, it say if you keep and do them, you will be granted wisdom and understanding in the sight of all the other nations. Read.
Which shall hear all these statutes.
Which shall hear the way that you live your life, and the way that you guide your nation, and the way that you lead your family, and the way that you set up your nation. Read.
And say, surely this great nation.
This what?
This great nation.
This what?
This great nation.
So it say first. It say first you got to keep the commandments. Then you got to show your wisdom and understanding in the sight of the nations. Then once they've heard about how much wisdom and understanding you have in your nation, then they will come and say, this great nation, read,
is a wise and understanding people.
Some people, they just want everybody else to just show them some respect just because. Just because they got the bloodline.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And we want to mooch off of daddy. We want to read a couple scriptures out the Bible, and then because my daddy is the Lord, I'm supposed to get respect.
That's right.
Because my daddy is Yahawashi, I'm supposed to get some respect. That's not the way it works. You're supposed to demand that respect with your wisdom, your knowledge, your way of life. You have to actually be a great nation.
That's right.
You can't just be a Negro on the street and then you demanding somebody to lick your boot. That's not the way it works. Give me 1 Kings 10:4. And that is a disgrace to our forefathers for us to act like that.
That's right.
And for us to be like that. How can has that ever worked? I'm gonna ask you, I'm gonna be real with the peoples, the brothers. Has that ever worked with you out on the street with them sisters? If you ever went out there on the street with them sisters and went out there in your cargo shorts and your tore up t-shirt with some sandals and said, yeah, girl, you know what I'm saying, this, that, or third, and she bowed down at your feet, has that ever happened?
Bring that out.
Or did you have to put on your freshest clothes? Did you have to get your freshest car out? You had to pull out the black card. You had to make sure you was using your best vocabulary to bag the baddest woman.
Bring it out.
So why do we think that we're supposed to go out there looking like dregs and the other nation's supposed to show us that respect?
Bring it out.
And we don't even expect that of our own sisters.
That's right.
Read this, Ark.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 10, verse 4.
Read.
And when the queen of Sheba had seen all Solomon's wisdom,
When Queen of Sheba seen all of Solomon's wisdom, read.
and the house that he had built,
In the house that he had built, read.
and the meat of his table,
And the meat of his table, read.
and the sitting of his servants,
And the way his servants was sitting, read.
and the attendance of his ministers,
And the way his ministers was attending, read.
and their apparel,
And the way they dressed, read.
and his cupbearers,
And his cupbearers, read.
and his ascent by which he went up unto the house of the Lord.
Read.
There was no more spirit in her.
Solomon had to show. He had to show his act. It wasn't just, oh, he's an Israelite, we got to show him some respect, guys. It wasn't like that. Sheba had to come see, and Solomon showed her,
That's right.
I'm wiser than you, smarter than you, better dressed than you,
That's right.
better servants, more diligent servants,
That's right.
more gold, more silver, serving the Lord better than you. Everything I do, I'm showing you through my actions that it is 100% better than you. I'm not just going to tell you.
That's right.
I'm not just going to go off of my words. And I'm not just going to act like I'm some tough shot. Read.
And she said to the king,
And she said to the king, read.
it was a true report.
It was a what?
A true report.
Too many times, brothers want to give a false report about who they really are.
That's right.
They want to say they the top dog. And they at the bottom at their warehouse at the job.
That's right.
They the top dog and they ain't got two pennies to rub together. He said it's a true report that she heard about Solomon. Read.
That I heard in mine own land of thy acts and of thy wisdom.
Of thy acts and of thy wisdom. Read.
Howbeit, I believe not the words until I came.
Until she came. Read.
And mine eyes had seen
And
it.
her eyes seen it. See, that's the thing. With Israel, we got a lot of lip service.
That's right.
But has anyone actually seen it? Has anyone seen that gold and that silver? Has anyone seen the way you're supposed to royally, you say you royalty, but have we seen you act like you royalty though?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You say that you're supposed to be above all nations, but have we seen you behave as above all nations? Or have we seen you behave as an angry teenager? You say that you're supposed to be the wisest nation on the planet because you have the laws, but have we seen great wisdom really come out of you? Or have you just quoted a couple of scriptures?
Bring that out.
You say that we're supposed to be the most spiritual people on the planet. You are the most spiritual man on the planet. And better yet, I'm going to tell you like this. Brothers say they're supposed to be the head of their household. But when we look, are you really ruling over your household? Or are you just saying that outside, but when you get on inside, you're allowing that woman to run things?
Bring that out.
How many things are just being said with lip service, but are not being done in the same fashion? Read.
And behold, the half was not told me.
Read.
Thy wisdom and prosperity exceeded the fame which I heard.
Read on.
Happy are thy men.
Happy. See, that's one thing too. Israel When you are a wise leader in Israel, you're supposed to make the people under you happy.
That's right.
Happy. Everybody's supposed to be happy. But too many of Israel, they want to be just hard all the time. I don't care if you happy, serve the Lord. I don't care if you having a good time. You're supposed to be the Lord's servant. Da, 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 da. But it's a happy. We're Solomon's men.
That's right.
Read.
Happy are these thy servants.
See, happy. We're Solomon's servants. And so you think Solomon had an Idumean servant and a servant? Everybody else was happy, but the Idumean servant was getting whipped every day? Or did he have all of his servants was happy? All of his servants was good. They wasn't worried about nothing. Read.
Which stand continually before thee.
Which stand continually before him. Read.
And that hear thy wisdom.
Give me Deuteronomy 28:2. And that hear his wisdom. Deuteronomy 28:2. Read this.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 2.
Read.
And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So, if we as a nation right now are hearkening unto the voice of the Lord our God, why have we not been just overtaken with blessings? What does it mean to be overtaken with blessings? You know what I'm saying? Why is it that the nation of Israel, if the truth is so abundant in Israel right now, and everybody is studying these scriptures the right way, and everybody going on the street corners the right way, and everything's being done in the spirit of Christ, why is it that we are just not overtaken and overabundant and overflow with blessings right now? Why is it that as a nation and as a movement, we're still kind of struggling? We're still kind of lagging behind. We're still not meeting the requirement that we could be meeting. Give me Leviticus 26:3. That's something to think about. But Israel, we want to ignore facts as long as we can continue to live the way we live in. As long as we ain't got to change nothing, we'll ignore the facts.
That's right.
Read.
Book of Leviticus, chapter 26, verse 3.
Read.
If ye walk in my statutes and my commandments and do them,
read,
then I will give you rain in due season.
See, the Lord say, if you walk in my commandments and my statutes, walk in my way of life, walk like Christ, then I will give you rain in due season. Read.
And the land shall yield her increase.
And the land shall yield her increase. Read.
And the trees of the field shall yield their fruit.
Give me Psalm chapter 68 and verse 6. Say, I will give you rain in due season. If you keep my commandments, if you walk in my ways, you will receive rain in due season. Psalm 68 and verse 6. Read it.
Book of Psalms, chapter 68, verse 6.
Read.
God setteth the solitary in families.
It say the Lord setteth those that are solitary and lonely and don't have a community and a family to gather with. He setteth those solitary people in families. See, read.
He bringeth out those which are bound with chains.
He bringeth out those that are bound with chains. Read.
But the rebellious.
But the what?
But the rebellious.
But the what?
But the rebellious.
Read.
Dwell in a dry land.
Why is Israel still so separated? Why is Israel still so scattered about, where everybody not gathering together? You know, some people don't want to be in camp. Some people do, but can't find a camp. Camp over here is not fully 100%. They there one Sabbath. They not there one Sabbath. Read that again.
God setteth the solitary in families.
See, it say the Lord, when we keeping the commandments, He setteth those ones that want families. He give them that family. Read.
He bringeth out these which are bound with chains.
Read on.
But the rebellious
Israelites, read.
Dwell in a dry land.
Dwell in a dry land. Read.
O God, when thou wentest forth before thy people.
Read.
When thou didst march through the wilderness.
Selah.
Selah.
Read.
The earth shook.
Read.
The heavens also dropped at the presence of God. Even Sinai itself was moved at the presence of God, the God of Israel.
Read on.
Thou, O God, didst send a plentiful rain,
A plentiful rain, read.
whereby thou didst confirm thy inheritance.
Whereby thou didst confirm, comfort, give assurance to thine inheritance, to thy people, read.
When it was weary.
That's what that rain is, man. It say if you keeping the commandments, he gonna give you that comfort. He gonna give you that confirmation. He gonna give you that assurance in that due season. But why is it that we still struggling in a dry land?
Bring it out.
Not knowing if we gonna see tomorrow. Not knowing if we gonna be able to pay that rent. Not knowing if there's a plan, if there's a future. One thing that I know, let's get the next precept. Give me Leviticus 26:4. One thing that I appreciate about one body being in one body is that there's always a plan.
That's right.
And that's one thing, that's that rain. That's that rain in due season. Because as soon as I'm thinking, Dan, what's the next step? What do I need to do? What I'm feeling kind of stagnant. As soon as I'm thinking that, I'm feeling kind of stagnant, the Lord sends some rain, sends a plan, sends something to confirm my inheritance and let me know that we moving in the right path.
That's right.
Read this out.
Book of Leviticus, chapter 26, verse 4.
Read.
Then I will give you rain in due season.
Rain in due season, read.
And the land shall yield her increase.
And then when that rain come, when that assurance come, when that confirmation come, then that land is going to yield some increase, read.
And the trees of the field.
And everything you put your hand to, read.
Shall yield their fruit.
But see, Israel not yielding no fruit, man. Israel's still stagnant.
That's right.
Israel, we still at the same place. I'm going to be honest, man. We haven't really increased much more than we did 4 years ago.
That's right.
We've increased. I ain't going to say we ain't grown. But, 4 years, 5 years, and this is where we at. I've seen rap artists come up quicker than that.
Bring that out.
You know what I'm saying? I've seen strippers turn into movie actresses quicker than that.
Bring it out.
So what's holding back hundreds of thousands of brothers that all have one mind from doing something that one stripper did in a couple of months turned into a movie actress? You know what I'm saying?
Bring that out.
It shows that we're not in one mind.
That's right.
Read.
And your threshing shall reach unto the vintage.
Unto the vintage. Read.
And the vintage shall reach unto the sowing time.
It said we shall have no lack for anything. Read.
And ye shall eat your bread to the full.
And ye shall eat your bread to the full. Read.
And dwell in your land safely.
Give me that in Haggai chapter 1 and verse 2. It say, you shall eat your bread to the full and dwell in safety. Lack for nothing. But we don't have enough. We struggling to fill ourselves with the dregs of something that somebody set up in 1960. They set it up in 1960 and we still eating off of the scraps.
That's right.
Read this, Art.
Book of Haggai, chapter 1, verse 2.
Read.
Thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, saying, this people say, this time is not come, the time that the Lord's house should be built.
See, that's what the people are not understanding, that right now we could be bringing forth the kingdom of heaven right now.
That's right.
But because the people want to say that the kingdom of heaven come forth in the future, that is where the problem is coming. Read.
Then come the word of the Lord by Haggai, the prophet, saying, it is time for you.
Is it time for you? Read.
O ye
Israel, read.
To dwell in your sealed houses.
To build up your own houses, read.
And this house lie waste.
This house is talking about the house of God.
That's right.
It's talking about Israel. It's saying, how can you be focused on your own house and the house of Israel lie waste?
Bring it out.
Israel is only worried about themselves. Read.
Now, therefore, thus saith the Lord of hosts, consider your ways.
So the Lord is telling our peoples, consider your ways. Read.
Ye have sown much.
See, you look at how much you have sown in your life. Look at how much you have sown into your own hopes and dreams. Read.
And bring in little.
But look at how little you've actually brought in from trying to sow into your own hopes and dreams. Look at that. Look at how many times you try to bring something to pass and how little you brought in from it. Read.
Ye eat.
Look, ye eat. Read.
But ye have not enough.
Read on.
Ye drink.
Read.
But ye are not filled with drink.
Read on.
Ye clothe. Ye, but there is none warm.
It's never enough. It's never enough because you're always living from day to day, paycheck to paycheck.
That's right.
Never looking at the future. And that's Israel's main problem is they can't see the future. They can't see the vision. They can't see the plan. All they can see is, what am I going to do tomorrow? What am I going to eat tomorrow? What am I going to wear tomorrow? Read.
And he that earneth wages.
He that earneth wages, read.
Earneth wages to put into a bag with holes.
Read on.
Thus said the Lord of hosts, consider your ways.
Read.
Go up to the mountain and bring wood and build the house.
See, the thing is, Israel don't want to put in no work.
That's right.
You know, if we would only dedicate time as a nation to put in work to build something for ourselves, go up to that mountain, bring the wood, build the house, read.
And I will take pleasure in it.
Read.
And I will glorify, saith the Lord.
Then we could finally build something that the Lord would bless. We could finally build something that wouldn't be under curses.
That's right.
Read.
Ye looked for much, and lo, it came too little.
See, you always looking for the get rich quick scheme.
That's right.
Always looking for a way to get ahead. And you always looking for much, but it always comes to little. Read.
And when you brought it home.
And when you bring it home, read.
I did blow it up.
Why does the Lord always blow it up? Why does whenever you bring something to the table and you always try to set something up, why does the Lord always shut it down? Why doesn't it ever come to pass? Read.
Why, saith the Lord of hosts, because of mine house that is waste.
That's why. Because you was trying to do that and you had no consideration for setting up the Lord's house.
That's right.
And when I say the Lord's house, I don't mean your version of the Lord's house. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm only worried about, making sure my name is out there. I'm making sure my videos get some likes and some views. Making sure I'm set up. Making sure I'm the elder out here. Making sure everybody looks at me. I'm the deacon.
Bring it out.
The Lord's house. We need to be worried about the whole nation. Some brothers too worried about their own reputation.
That's right.
Read.
And ye ran every man unto his own house.
And ye ran every man to his own house. Read.
Therefore, the heaven over you is stayed from dew.
That's why the heaven hasn't given you any rain.
Right.
That's why we haven't had any rain in Israel. Read.
And the earth is stayed from her fruit.
Read on.
And I called for a drought upon the land.
See, the Lord has called for a drought upon our land. Israel didn't know that, did they? See, we thinking that we put fringes on, we escape the curses. The Lord has called for a drought on the nation of Israel today.
That's right.
He's called for a drought. And only the ones that have the blood over their doorstep is getting any water. Read.
And upon the mountains, and upon the corn, and upon the new wine, and upon the oil, and upon that which the ground bringeth forth, and upon men, and upon cattle, and upon all the labor of the hands.
Give me John 4 and 6. John 4 and 6. Read this out.
The book of John, chapter 4, verse 6.
Read on.
Now Jacob's well was there.
Jacob's well, read.
Yahawashi, therefore, being weary with his journey, set us on the well, and it was about the 6th hour.
Read.
There cometh a woman of Samaria to draw water.
So when we examine it, we have to ask, why did they not say this sister's name? Why did they just say a woman? That woman, what does that woman represent? the nation. Represents Israel. He said, there cometh that woman of Samaria. Read.
Yahawashi said unto her, give me to drink.
That's what he's saying. Give the nation. Yahawashi is a representation of us. We are Christ. He's saying, give me to drink. Give the nation water to drink. Give them the rain in their season. Read.
For his disciples were gone away unto the city to buy meat.
Read on.
Then saith the Lord of Samaria unto him, how is it that thou, being a Jew, askest drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria? For the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans.
Read on.
Yahawashi answered and said unto her, that if thou knewest the gift of God,
if thou knewest the gift of God, read,
and who it is that saith to thee, give me to drink,
and who it was that say, give me that water to drink, read,
thou wouldn't have asked of him,
thou wouldst have asked of Christ, read,
and he would have given thee living water.
Living water, read.
The woman said unto him, Sir, thou hast nothing to draw with.
He says, Sir, thou hast nothing to draw with. How can you bring out more into the scriptures? How can you bring out more of the understanding when even our elders couldn't bring it out? See, read.
And the well is deep.
And the understanding is deep. It's too deep. Read.
From hence then, that's how thou, that living water, art thou greater than our father Jacob, which gave us the well, and drink thereof himself and his children and his cattle.
But even now we have more of an understanding even now.
That's right.
Christ has raised the waters up even now. Read.
Yahawashi answered and said unto her, whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again.
Israel has been drinking regular water for too long.
That's right.
Like, why is Israel so thirsty still? If we've been getting the real water, why is Israel so thirsty? It's a read.
But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst.
Whosoever finds the true source of water, of living water, it say they would never thirst.
That's right.
So if you find yourself continually thirsty, it's because you haven't found the living water yet.
That's right.
It say once you find it, you will never thirst. Read.
But the water that I shall give him shall be in him, and well of water springing up unto everlasting life.
Give me Leviticus 26:6. Read that out.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 26, verse 6.
Read.
And I will give peace in the land.
And he will give peace in the land when you are walking in his ways.
That's right.
And peace in the land is not talking about this landmass. It's talking about amongst our communities. It's talking about in Israel, within us. Peace. Read.
And ye shall lie down.
Read.
And none shall make you afraid.
And none shall make us afraid. But Israel is still afraid to this day.
That's
afraid
right.
of being fired, afraid of being arrested, afraid of being shot down, afraid of being oppressed, afraid of being anything being done to our children, afraid of being lied to, afraid of being cheated on.
That's right.
Afraid. Read.
And I will rid evil beasts out of the land.
Read.
Neither shall the sword go through your land.
So, but why are we still having evil beasts in our community then? It say you will rid evil beasts out of the land, but last time I checked, we still got brothers with wicked spirits on them.
That's right.
Amongst us. We still got evil beasts within the Israelite community amongst us.
Bring it out.
And neither shall the sword go through your land, but destruction is still going through Israelite communities to this day.
That's right.
Some camps shutting down, being exposed for sin. Things, sisters coming and exposing things, brothers coming and exposing things. Destruction going through the camps. Why is it still happening? if we're in the spirit. Deuteronomy 28:63. One thing, Israel, we can't do is we can't continue to ignore the facts. We can't continue to ignore the facts. We not meeting the standard. Read this out. Deuteronomy 28:63.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 63.
Read.
And it shall come to pass that as the Lord rejoiced over you to do you good,
As the Lord rejoiced over us to do us good, read.
and to multiply you,
Read on.
so the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you.
See, right now the Lord is rejoicing over us to destroy the ones that are not meeting up to his standards.
That's right.
Read.
And to bring you to naught.
That's why so many of us are being brought to naught. Brothers leaving the truth, going back into the world. It's being brought to naught. Read.
And ye shall be plucked from off the land, whither thou goest to possess it.
As soon as we stand up, getting plucked out of what we're trying to set up.
That's right.
Read.
And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people.
Scatter thee among all people. Read.
From the one end of the earth even unto the other.
So that one end of the earth even unto the other, it means all over the place within our minds, within our spirits, within the way that we speak, within the way that we act, within our doctrines. We all over the place. Because we all over the world. We know that. But it's also in here. You can have a brother right there sitting next to you and be on a whole different continent within his spirit, within the way that he acts, within the things he believes, within the doctrine he follows. It's on a totally different level. Read.
And there thou shalt serve other gods.
And there thou shalt serve other gods. Read.
Which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone.
Give me Isaiah 37:18. Isaiah 37:18.
Book of Isaiah, chapter 37, verse 18.
Read.
Of a truth, Lord, the kings of
Assyria
have laid waste all the nations and their country.
Read on.
And have cast their gods into the fire.
Have cast their gods into the fire. Read.
For they were no gods.
For they were no gods, but read.
But the work of men's hands.
See, the thing is, people thinking you got to be following an idol. You got to be following something that's, when they say wood and stone, it just means there's something that was made by you.
That's right.
Something that was made in your mind. Something that was made by your thoughts. Something that was made by your philosophy. That is wood and stone. Made corruptible. Read.
Wood and stone. Therefore, they have destroyed them.
You've been destroyed by your own philosophy.
That's right.
By your own way of thinking. That's not according to what the Lord say. Been destroyed by your own way of thinking. Give me Mark chapter 7 and verse 6. Mark chapter 7 and verse 6.
The book of Mark, chapter 7, verse 6.
Read.
And he answered and said unto them,
Read.
Well, hath Isaiah prophesied of you
Hypocrites.
hypocrites?
See, when we reading this, of course, when we see this, we think, okay, that's talking about the scribes and the Pharisees. But this Bible is a mirror.
That's right.
Everything is talking about you. And that is the mindset we have to see when we read in the scriptures. Well, hath Isaiah prophesied of you, Moses. You know what I'm saying? Of you who's watching this class. Of you who, anybody that's seeing this, of anybody that's reading this, read.
As it is written,
Read.
This people honoreth me with their lips.
It's saying you, me. I'm reading this. This people, Moses, honoreth me with your lips. Read.
But their heart is far from me.
But your mind has been far from me. And I read that and I say, damn. Let me look at the way that, he's telling me something.
That's right.
He's telling me something that I'm doing right now. I don't read this and I say, oh, this people honoreth me with their lips. Wow, they was really doing that back then. But their heart is far from me. Wow, back then, man, their heart was far from me. I don't see it like that. I see my name right there.
That's right.
And that's the way we have to be. Read.
Howbeit in vain.
In vain, read.
Do thy worship me.
And do they worship the Lord? Read.
Teaching for doctrine the commandments of men.
See, teaching for law, things that we made up with our own hands, that we made up with our own minds, that really don't even reflect what the scriptures wanted us to do, but we've made it into commandments.
That's right.
Read.
For laying aside the commandments of God.
Laying aside the commandment of God. Read.
Ye hold the traditions of men.
We are holding too fast to the traditions of men, of what somebody else. Why do you think we've been doing communion for so long? As Israelites with fringes on, we've still been doing bread and wine. You know? Why do you think that we've been believing the same doctrines we've been believing for so long? Because we're afraid to break from that tradition. We're afraid to disappoint somebody. We're afraid to go against the grain. And that's going to be the downfall of us. Give me Deuteronomy 28:65.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 65.
Read.
And among these nations.
And among these nations, read.
Shalt thou find no ease.
Why are we still among these nations? As long as your mind and your heart and the way that you live is still among these nations, that's why you still can't find no ease. You have to fully jump into being an Israelite in your family.
That's right.
But as long as you can say you're an Israelite, but your family is still your work family at the job. You can say you're an Israelite, but you still would prefer to go out and party with your homeboys at the club. But when you say you're an Israelite and you dedicate your life to hanging out with your brothers and loving on your brothers and being around your sisters, then you coming out from among them. Right. Read.
Neither shall the sole of thy foot rest.
See, your soul, the sole of your foot will not have any rest as long as you continue to try to be a part of these other nations. And when I say these other nations, I mean your own people that are still behaving like other nations.
That's right.
You might be like, well, I don't hang out with Edomites, but you still hang out with brothers that love Jordans more than they love the Sabbath.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So you still basically hanging out with Edomites. Read.
But the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart.
Read.
And failing of eyes.
Read on.
And sorrow of mind.
See, that's why we can't have no happiness, no peace within ourselves. Because we choose to be a part of what's going on out there. We choose to be a part of it. Read.
And thy life shall hang in the doubt before thee.
Read.
And thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have none assurance of thy life.
Give me Isaiah 32:16. Let's see if that assurance. Have none assurance in thy life. Give me Isaiah chapter 32 and verse 16. Say we have a trembling heart, sorrow of mind, failing of eyes. 32:16. Read that out.
Book of Isaiah, chapter 32, verse 16.
Read.
Then judgment shall dwell in the wilderness, and righteousness remain in the fruitful field.
Judgment shall dwell in this wilderness. Our peoples are a wilderness right now. We are a dry land. And the righteousness remain in the fruitful field. When you become a fruitful field, filled with water, filled with good fruits, righteousness will dwell in you. Read.
And the work of righteousness shall be peace.
But when you have that righteousness and you become that fruitful field, you will find peace in your life. You won't have those same issues that you was having.
That's right.
You won't have the same drama that you was having. You'll have peace in your life. Read.
And the effect of righteousness, quietness.
Quietness. Read.
And assurance forever.
Assurance in your life forever. Give me Deuteronomy 28 and 27. Read this out.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, Verse 27.
Read.
The Lord will smite thee with a botch of Egypt.
The Lord will smite thee with the botch of Egypt. Read on.
And with the emerald, and with the scab, and with the itch thereof thou canst not be healed.
Jump up to verse 58. What is the botch of Egypt? You know, what is that emeralds and the scab and the itch? All these things that it say the botch of Egypt, the sickness of Egypt. Let's get that. Read this, Ak.
Verse 58.
Read.
If thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book.
See, if you don't want to do what's written in this book and live your life the way Christ said to live, read.
That thou mayest fear this glorious and fearful name, the Lord thy God. Then the Lord will make thy plagues wonderful.
He say he will make your plagues wonderful. Plagues. That sounds familiar. He said he was going to make your plagues wonderful. Read.
And the plagues of thy seed.
And then the plagues that'll be put upon your children. Read.
Even great plagues.
Even great plagues. Read.
And of long continuance.
Read on.
And the sore sicknesses. And of long continuance.
Give me 1 Corinthians 11 and 27. 1 Corinthians 11 and 27. He said he was going to put plagues upon us. Plagues upon us if we didn't want to keep the commandments. Plagues upon us if we didn't want to live righteous. Plagues upon us if we didn't want to change the way we think. Plagues upon us if we didn't want to come and gather ourselves together. Read this out.
Book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 11, verse 27.
Read.
Therefore, whosoever shall eat this bread.
Whosoever shall eat this bread. Read.
And drink this cup of the Lord.
Read.
Unworthily.
Hold on, what?
Unworthily.
Hold on, what? Brothers in the truth, wearing fringes, reading the Bible, teaching the word. What are they doing it?
Unworthily.
Unworthily. Is it? Can this be talking about TDJs? He don't even eat the bread. He don't even drink the cup.
That's right.
It's talking about us doing it unworthily. Read.
Shall be guilty of the body and the blood of the Lord.
So we got to ask our question: how many of us in Israel are guilty of the body and blood of the Lord? What percentage is it? Could it be 2/3? See, read.
But let a man examine himself, and so let him eat of that bread and the drink of that cup.
So it say when you're eating of the bread and you're drinking of the cup, you're supposed to be examining yourself while doing that.
That's right.
That's telling you right there this Bible is supposed to be a mirror. Read.
For he that eateth and drinketh unworthily,
Read.
eateth and drinketh damnation to himself.
See, you damning yourself when you don't do it to the best of your ability. You might as well go back in the world.
That's right.
You just screwing yourself over. Right. Read.
Not discerning the Lord's body.
Not discerning the Lord's body. Read.
For this cause.
Because of this cause. Because of this right here. Read.
Many are weak and sickly among you, and many sleep.
This is why we're sick. This is why we have many plagues. This is why the sore sicknesses of long continuance is upon us.
That's right.
Because we're eating of this word unworthily. Unworthily. Give me Exodus 12 and 21. Read that out. Exodus 12 and 21.
The book of Exodus, chapter 12, verse 21.
Read.
Then Moses called for all the elders of Israel and said up unto them, draw out and take you a lamb according to your family, and kill the Passover.
See, he say, take a lamb and kill the Passover. Read.
And ye shall take a bunch of hyssop.
Read.
And dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel of the two side posts with the blood that is in the basin.
So he say you're supposed to cover your door with the blood of the lamb. You're supposed to cover your house with the blood and the sacrifice of the Lamb of God. Read.
And none of you shall go out at the door of his house until the morning.
And you're not supposed to leave out of that covenant, out of that house, See, the thing is, when you find a place where you know the blood of the Lord is, you should stay there.
That's right.
Too many people want to do camp hopping, camp jumping, running around here, running around there. Once you find the blood of the Lord, stay there. Because the storm is coming.
That's right.
Read.
For the Lord will pass through to smite the Egyptians.
He say the Lord gonna pass through and he gonna smite the Egyptians with all them plagues he told you. All them plagues. He gonna smite the Egyptians. Read.
And when he seeth the blood upon the lintel.
But when he see the blood on your household, read.
And on the two side posts, the Lord will pass over the door.
But why is it that the Lord is giving you the same curses that he put upon the Egyptians? Because you ain't got the blood on your house.
That's right.
You got the same sore sicknesses of long continuance that the Egyptians got here in America because you ain't got the blood on your house. Read.
And will not suffer the destroyer to come in unto your house to smite you.
Read on.
And ye shall observe this thing for an ordinance to thee and thy sons forever.
Give me Deuteronomy 28:28. Deuteronomy 28:28.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 28.
Read.
And the Lord shall smite thee with madness.
The Lord shall smite thee with madness. Read.
And blindness, and an astonishment of heart.
See this? He say madness, blindness, and astonishment of heart. Read.
And thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness. And thou shalt not prosper in thy ways. And thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore. And no man shall save thee.
So let's get that. Let's break that down. Give me Exodus chapter 10 and verse 21. He say, thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind gropeth in darkness. Exodus chapter 10 and verse 21. Let's get another example of how when you don't have the blood of Christ on your house, you going through the same thing that the Egyptians, the Americans, the Babylonians, the Assyrians are going through. Read this,
The book of Exodus, chapter 10, verse 21.
Read.
And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out thine hand toward heaven.
Read on.
That there may be darkness over the land of Egypt.
There's darkness falling on Babylon right now.
Right.
Darkness, curses. Bad things happen. Read.
Even darkness which may be felt.
You can feel that this place is falling. You can feel the darkness coming on this place.
That's right.
Read.
And Moses stretched forth his hand toward heaven.
Read on.
And there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days.
Read on.
They saw not one another, neither rose any from his place for 3 days.
Read on.
But all the children of Israel had light in their dwelling.
See, when you got the blood on your house, when you walking in the ways and you walking in Christ's ways, you're not going to have to deal with none of that darkness.
That's right.
It's going to be light in your house. There's going to be light in your future. You're going to be able to see the possibilities. You're going to be able to see the future coming to fruition. But when you see yourself constantly worrying about the future, it's because you got thick darkness on you.
That's right.
Thick darkness that you can't even see right in front of you. What you supposed to do next? See, give me Psalms 127 and 1. Psalm chapter 127 and verse 1.
Book of Psalms, chapter 127, verse 1.
Read.
Except the Lord built the house.
Except the Lord build the house. Read.
Thy labor in vain that build it.
So we trying to build a house, but we're not putting the Lord first. That's why we put forth our foot towards to do it, and it falls instead. We can't get anything to actually stand up for ourselves. We can't actually set up anything for ourselves because we're not putting the Lord first. We're not putting his house first. We're not putting the nation first. Read.
Except the Lord keep the city.
Read.
The watchman waketh but in vain.
Give me Isaiah 42 and 22. Read that out.
Book of Isaiah, chapter 42, verse 22.
Read.
But this is a people robbed and spoiled.
See, our people, we have been robbed and spoiled. But the thing is, we're giving it up for free.
That's right.
We're giving away our own heritage for free. Okay. Robbed and spoiled. Read.
They are all of them snared in holes.
Snared in the holes of our own doings, of our own actions. Read.
And they are hid in prison houses.
And see, we are hid in prison houses. We are hid in the prisons of not only physical prisons, because yes, we are hid in physical prisons, but prisons of our own doings, of our own minds.
That's right.
Of our own doctrines, of our own, hidden a prison of, I have to do things this way. I have to have things this way. It has to be done this way. Read.
They are for a prey.
And because of the fact that we so spoiled, ensnared, and hid in that prison, now we are prey to anybody that come and deal with us. Any nation that want to take from us. We are prey. Read.
And none delivereth.
And nobody's going to deliver us. Read.
For a spoil.
For a spoil. Read.
And none saith restore.
And none is saying restore. None is saying restore. Give me Deuteronomy 28:30. See, the thing is, when you're reading these curses, we have to not only see what's going on in the physical, but see how it reflects within your own mind. Read this out.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 30.
Read.
Thou shalt betroth a wife.
Thou shalt betroth a wife. Read.
And another man shall lie with her.
Let me ask a question. Who do we be more worried about lying with our wife? Do it be we worried about boss lying with our wife? Or do it be we worried about that nigga on the street lying with our wife? Who do we be more worried about? So the thing is, when we're reading it, we always want to say, oh, betroth the wife, another man shall lie with her. Oh, slavery times, this, that, and the third. But your own brother the one that's going to try and sleep with your wife.
That's right.
We be cheating on with our own sisters. It be amongst ourselves. Read.
Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein.
He say, thou shalt build an house, but thou shalt not dwell therein. But we happily go back and do it again.
That's right.
Read.
Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shall not gather the grapes thereof.
He say, thou shalt plant a vineyard, but not gather. You're not going to gather it in for yourself. You're going to plant that vineyard for someone else, and you're going to continue to do it. We won't even learn how to go plant it for ourselves.
That's right.
Give me Exodus 20 and 17. See, read this out.
The book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 17.
Read.
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house.
It say, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Read.
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife.
Read on.
Nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is in thy neighbor's.
That is thy neighbor's. Nor anything that is thy neighbor's. So why is the Lord telling us this if it's not a problem that Israel had?
That's right.
So when it's saying that we would be cursed with that, it's because of our own wicked doings. Because we have a problem with that.
That's right.
Give me Isaiah 55 and 2. Isaiah 55 and 2, because we have a problem with that amongst our own people. But then it said, thou shalt build a house, and shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shall not gather the grapes thereof. Read this for me,
Book of Isaiah, chapter 55, verse 2.
Read.
Therefore, do ye spend money for that which is not bread?
Wherefore do we spend money for that which is not bread? Wherefore do we dedicate our time and our money, in our souls, and our lives, and our energy into things that will not profit us? Read.
And your labor for that which
satisfieth. And your labor for that which satisfieth not. The work that you put forth don't even satisfy you and your family need for a future. Read.
Hearken diligently unto me.
Hearken diligently unto me. Read.
And eat ye that which is good.
Eat, consume knowledge and understanding and a future and wisdom and a plan that is good for you. And stop eating just the stale stuff that we've been fed. Read.
And let your soul delight itself in fatness.
Let your soul delight when we can finally delight ourselves in fatness.
That's right.
Being able to be overflowed with blessings. Give me Deuteronomy 28:31. Read this out.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 31.
Read.
Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof.
See, it say thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. But do we have any oxen? So what is this curse today? We don't have any oxen today. Are we exempt from this? Read.
Thine ass shall be violently taken away.
Thine ass shall be violently taken away. Read.
From before thy face.
Read on.
And shall not be restored to thee.
Read on.
Thy sheep shall be given unto thine enemies, and thou shalt not have none to rescue them.
So the thing is, we don't even go and get anything for ourselves. We don't have any ox. We don't have any ass. We don't have any sheep. And he say, thou shalt not eat thereof. He say, it shall not be restored to thee, and thou shalt have none to rescue them. None of it. We're not doing any of these things for ourselves.
That's right.
Getting anything for us to eat. Restoring our own food, our own food source, and rescuing our own sheep, making sure we have our own supplies. But read on.
Thy sons and thy daughters
read.
Shall be given unto another people.
And then it say, thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people. But who gave them to another people? Who has the power over your son and your daughter? Is it not you?
That's right.
You had the power to raise that monster, or you have the power to raise them into righteousness. You have the power of who you send them to learn from, and you have the power of what you gonna teach them.
That's right.
So if your son and your daughter being given into another nation, and it's because you are freely giving it to them. Read.
And thine eyes shall look.
And your eyes look, read.
And fell with longing for them all the day long.
Read on.
For thou shalt be no might in thine hand.
But we thinking that might is talking about, oh, we ain't gonna have no power to take back our children. Let's get Zechariah chapter 4 and verse 6. We're gonna end it off on this. Zechariah chapter 4 and verse 6. We thinking that might is just saying, oh, well, we ain't going to have no power to be able to go save our children from master. Let's see what that might is. Read this, Art.
The book of Zechariah, chapter 4 and verse 6.
Read.
Then he answered and spake unto me, saying, this is the word of the Lord unto Zerubbabel, saying, not by my might.
Not by might, read.
Nor by power.
Read.
But by my spirit.
But by the Spirit, read.
Saith the Lord of hosts.
We don't have no spirit to be able to raise our children up. We don't have no spirit. We don't have the spirit of wanting to have our children become great.
That's right.
Too many people, when they have children, it's just another burden. Instead of seeing it as a future. Instead of seeing it as the next generation. But Lord will, you learn something. We're going to go deeper into the curses. And educate on how we can see it in a way that we can fix it. Because when you're constantly blaming the curses on somebody else, you can't fix it.
That's right.
You can't fix something that you always blaming on somebody else. But on that we say shalom.
Shalom.
That's right.